Thank you, everyone. I'm Ana Maria Porras. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Florida. And today I'm going to tell you about some work that I have been doing with Dr. Sindia Rivera-Jimenez, experimenting using ChatGPT to actually go into what Corinne was just saying, kind of protect our time and be more effective and more engaging for our students. So as I'm sure we're all aware, as engineering challenges from climate change related crises, the emergence of new infectious diseases, etc., health disparities have become increasingly tied to societal and cultural contexts. And a lot of the times our traditional curricula are falling short in preparing students to navigate these intersections. I know many of us in the call really want to incorporate these cultural frameworks and societal contexts into all of the work that we're doing. There's various logistical, time, curricular constraints, our own well-being and lack of time in preparing materials for class that can get in the way of us achieving that. So what Sindia and I, as I was saying earlier, have been doing is experimenting with leveraging generative AI. Specifically, we work with ChatGPT, but Copilot from Microsoft, or forgetting the name of the Google one, can also help facilitate the design of assignments, homeworks, classroom activities that foster multicultural competencies and social responsibility. I'm going to show you two examples from both of our classes, from an undergrad and a grad class, but at this QR code, and I'll also put the name in the chat, the link in the chat, you can find more resources and example prompts if you want to play around with them later. So this is an example from Cindia's class. This is a chemical engineering class where they're doing mass balances. This is a traditional mass balance problem. And so I'm not showing you some of the conversations Sindia had before with ChatGPT to prime it to think about social responsibility. But an example is she is asking it to rewrite the above problem statement using one problem-based learning and also integrating innovation for social good in the context of engineering. And so ChatGPT generates, of course, as you can imagine, a lot of extra information that you don't need, so you can pare it down. But you can see here, for example, that it's introducing the idea of sustainability and ethanol as a potential alternative biofuel. Then it gives you a challenge. And again, I want you to notice that the mathy or theoretical portion of it remains the same. It's just the context that it is adding to an already existing problem. And then it brainstorms a bunch of tasks that you can assign to your students. The first one here on process optimization falls along the more classical things that you might ask students to do in homeworks or exams. For example, calculating the current selectivity of ethylene for ethanol and for ether, et cetera, et cetera. But it also proposes things related to social responsibility, like evaluating the environmental impact of diethyl ether, studying its effects on local ecosystems, et cetera. You can also leverage the power of ChatGPT to accelerate the process of generating rubrics that can help you assess students' critical thinking skills applied to this context, right? So this is an example of a prompt that Sindia used. And of course, this is the rubric that it comes up with that you can readily integrate into Canvas, for example. So you can experiment with this and also remember to validate those rubrics. I'm also going to share with you super quickly another example that I used to generate content in a class activity for a graduate class. So in this case, I'm introducing my class on global health in biomedical engineering. And what I wanted to do was discuss ethics. Of course, ChatGPT is really terrible when you give it unspecified prompts. So when my first attempt at getting it to generate ethical scenarios was a failure, so later I asked it for more concrete examples. It kept giving me examples from the United States. So again, cannot think on its own, but it can accelerate the way that you work. And so I had to remind it that my class is specific to global health. So then it helped me find specific scenarios that would have taken me probably hours to Google through traditional means. Of course, all of these examples were really old, so then I asked it to give me examples from the 2000s or earlier, and again, it identified very relevant examples for my class. You can also use it to help you design activities in the classroom, so that's what I did next, and it came up with, I of course adapted everything. ChatGPT is particularly terrible at estimating time, but this is just another example of the types of ways in which you can leverage generative AI to make your classes more engaging and to save time. And so to summarize, we have over the last 2 years been successful in using these AI tools to successfully integrate this idea of fostering multicultural competencies and social responsibility with technical content while supporting our own mental health, our own time, not investing too much more time into our workflow. And at the same time, we have seen that students engage more deeply with topics when we do provide this societal context and relevance for the work that they're doing. And I'm open to questions at the end if you have any.
Sure. Thank you, Anna. I should clarify questions. We're going to divide the groups